Disaster response requires speed, clarity, and coordination. When an event is unfolding, emergency management teams must stay agile and informed at every moment. GIS gives responders real-time situational awareness, helping them understand impacts quickly, deploy resources efficiently, and communicate clearly with the public. In this part of the module, we will explore how GIS supports rapid impact analysis, resource allocation, and operational coordination during an active emergency. Recovery, on the other hand, is a long-term process. It may take months or even years, and every decision affects how quickly a community can heal. GIS ensures that recovery efforts are transparent, prioritized, and data-driven, from documenting damage and debris removal to tracking progress and communicating results. Instead of reacting to problems as they appear, GIS enables communities to anticipate needs, measure what works, and keep everyone aligned throughout the recovery journey. By the end of this module, participants will understand how GIS strengthens disaster response and recovery. They will learn how to maintain real-time situational awareness by integrating field reports, sensor data, and operational updates into a single shared view, enabling faster and more accurate interpretation of rapidly changing conditions. Participants will also learn how to analyze impacts and prioritize response actions based on spatial patterns, ensuring that teams, equipment, and resources are deployed where they are needed most. In addition, they will learn how to document damage, track recovery progress, and manage debris operations using GIS workflows that support transparency and accountability. Finally, they will learn how to use shared maps and dashboards to improve communication among agencies, enhance coordination, and support a more organized and equitable recovery for affected communities. Situational awareness. The ability to see what is happening in real time by bringing together information from multiple sources into a single, clear operational view. Operational visibility ensures that decision-makers can monitor incidents, resources, and field activities continuously, enabling faster and more informed actions. Field work efficiency. Using mobile GIS tools to collect, verify, and share field data instantly, reducing delays and improving accuracy during emergency operations. Impact analysis. Assessing the extent of damage, affected populations, and disrupted infrastructure to understand the overall consequences of an event. Logistics and recovery. Coordinating the movement of people, supplies, and equipment while planning long-term restoration efforts through accurate, location-based information. As emergency management professionals, we are required to manage large-scale crises with both agility and foresight. And in these critical moments, GIS becomes the foundation of life-saving decision-making. During response operations, our goal is to stay one step ahead of rapidly changing conditions. With GIS, we maintain real-time situational awareness, seeing what is happening, where it is happening, and who is being affected, all in one operational view. Live maps, sensor feeds, weather data, and updates from field crews come together instantly, giving us a clear picture of the evolving incident. This allows us to assess damage accurately, understand the scale of the impact, and deploy resources exactly where they are needed most. Just as importantly, GIS enables transparent communication. We can share up-to-date, location-based information with the public, the media, and partner agencies, ensuring that everyone is working with the same understanding of the situation. Instead of relying on scattered reports or delayed information, GIS provides clarity in the middle of chaos, and that clarity helps us act quickly, confidently, and decisively when every second counts. Situational awareness lies at the very heart of effective disaster response. During the first hours of a disaster, the greatest challenge we face is chaos. GIS plays a critical role in managing this chaos. It gathers information that is scattered across different systems, formats, and departments, and transforms it into a single, clear, and actionable common operating picture. Traditionally, this has been extremely difficult. Manual data collection is slow, inconsistent, and often outdated the moment it is recorded. Information becomes siloed, an Excel file here, a PDF there. And during an emergency, Outdated information is not just inefficient, it's a serious risk. GIS completely changes this reality. Real-time visibility. In an ideal GIS environment, both field teams and command staff should be able to access a real-time situational awareness dashboard at any moment. As conditions evolve, the system updates automatically, without requiring human intervention. This allows us to see what is happening, where it is happening, and how it is changing in real time. Weather data, sensor readings, 911 calls, drone imagery, and field observations all converge into a single operational view. Decision-ready insights. And GIS dashboards are never just a map. They transform thousands of data points into decision-ready insights, answering critical questions such as, which communities are at the highest risk? Which critical assets have been impacted? Where should immediate response and resource deployment occur? In short, GIS-powered situational awareness turns chaos into clarity, and allows us to act quickly, safely, and effectively when every second matters. Let's look at how situational awareness works in the real world. The city of Raleigh in North Carolina built a real-time operational picture using ArcGIS. Their Emergency Operations Center integrated multiple data streams, service requests, sensor readings, debris reports, and 911 calls, all into one dashboard. This system allows the city to immediately understand where impacts are happening and how conditions are evolving. During Hurricane Florence, for example, instead of checking scattered files and maps, teams could monitor everything in a unified view, making faster and more coordinated decisions. Raleigh shows us that when key information is shared instantly, agencies operate with clarity instead of confusion. GIS becomes the backbone of efficient, real-time disaster response. Here you can see how Raleigh uses GIS to strengthen situational awareness during severe weather events. On the left, we see a live map of stream gauge data. This real-time information lets the city immediately identify where water levels are rising and which areas are beginning to flood. Instead of waiting for field reports, decision-makers can see the situation unfold minute by minute. On the right, we have an incident status dashboard used during a hurricane. It displays active incidents, road closures, blocked routes, and debris reports all at once. During a fast-moving disaster, this kind of clarity is essential. It ensures that emergency teams know exactly where the risks are and how to respond. These visuals show the real value of situational awareness, transforming thousands of data points into a clear picture that guides decisions when time is critical. Effective disaster response depends on placing the right resources in the right place at exactly the right time. GIS helps us do this with precision. By tracking teams, vehicles, and equipment on a shared real-time map, we can instantly see where support is needed, where gaps exist, and where delays may emerge. This shared operational picture allows multiple agencies to coordinate seamlessly, reducing confusion, preventing duplicated efforts, and ensuring that every action we take is aligned and efficient. In critical moments, this level of coordination can make the difference between disruption and success. When we move into the recovery phase, our mission shifts from responding to stabilizing, and then rebuilding stronger. And this is where GIS becomes a strategic backbone. Recovery must be intentional, structured, and data-driven. We must plan to recover. GIS helps us accelerate this process by showing exactly where needs are greatest and ensuring survivors receive the help they need, when they need it. One of the most visible and most complex parts of recovery is debris removal. With GIS, we can document the type and amount of debris, assign crews, track progress in real time, and ensure every action is properly recorded, not only for efficiency, but also for compliance and reimbursement. And throughout the entire recovery journey, transparency matters. Interactive maps and dashboards allow agencies to monitor progress, demonstrate accountability, and give the public a clear view of how their community is being restored. In short, GIS brings structure, clarity, and trust to the recovery process, helping communities rebuild not just quickly, but more resiliently. Damage assessment is essential because recovery must be planned. We must plan to recover. To do that, we rely on timely and accurate field data, which allows us to understand the true impact and begin recovery quickly. These assessments also determine whether communities qualify for state or federal aid, making good documentation critical. GIS supports this entire process by collecting damage reports, monitoring impacts, and sharing updates with both officials and the public. With GIS, we turn post-disaster information into clear, actionable insight, helping communities recover faster and more effectively. Let's look at how GIS supported damage assessment after the devastating tornadoes in Lee County, Alabama. Modeling damage. When twin tornadoes hit the region with winds exceeding 170 miles per hour, entire neighborhoods were destroyed within minutes. GIS allowed responders to immediately map the tornado paths, visualize the affected areas, and model which homes, families, and critical facilities were impacted. Instead of relying on scattered reports, they had a structured, geographic view of destruction. Combining many inputs. One of the most powerful aspects of this response was the ability to merge multiple data sources into a single operational picture. Satellite imagery, drone flights, 911 call locations, field inspections, and weather data were all processed through GIS. Decision-makers didn't have to piece together information. Dashboards delivered real-time, unified intelligence that clearly showed what was happening on the ground. Recurring incidents. Since Alabama experiences tornadoes frequently, having a repeatable and reliable damage assessment workflow is essential. GIS provided exactly that. Once the workflows were established, the same tools could be activated in every event, speeding up assessment, ensuring consistency, and providing a dependable foundation for recovery planning. Overall, GIS transformed a chaotic and fast-moving situation into a clear, data-driven understanding of impact, helping teams act quickly when every minute mattered. Here we can see how visual intelligence played a critical role in understanding the scale of destruction. On the left, FEMA created a unified dashboard by combining numerous inputs, satellite imagery, drone captures, field inspections, 911 calls, and meteorological data. This dashboard made it possible to see the total impact of the March 3, 2019 tornadoes in one consolidated view. Instead of looking at disconnected reports, decision-makers could immediately understand where damage was most severe and what communities needed urgent assistance. On the right, we see another essential output, a visual tally of completed damage assessments directly along the tornado's path. Each symbol represents a verified assessment, allowing teams to track progress, identify gaps, and prioritize remaining areas. Together, these visual tools transformed a fast-moving disaster into an organized, data-driven response. They helped teams allocate resources wisely, avoid duplication of effort, and ensure that support reached the hardest-hit communities as quickly as possible. Debris management is one of the most visible and most critical steps in the recovery phase. After a disaster, communities look for signs of progress, and debris removal is often the first clear indicator that recovery has begun. However, effective debris management does not happen automatically. It requires a clear understanding of the situation on the ground. GIS enables us to quickly analyze the volume, type, and precise location of debris, allowing teams to be directed to the right places and work to be organized efficiently. Equally important is accurate documentation. In many countries, both insurance processes and disaster recovery support systems rely on complete and reliable records of every removal action. Proper documentation ensures that financial processes run smoothly and that recovery resources are allocated fairly and transparently. GIS simplifies this entire workflow. It collects field reports instantly, automatically logs removed materials, and provides real-time dashboards that help managers monitor operations. As a result, early cleanup progresses faster, and the entire process becomes more transparent and accountable, demonstrating to both institutions and the public that recovery is being carried out efficiently and responsibly. Philadelphia's debris management work highlights how strategic the cleanup phase needs to be, and how GIS strengthens every step of that strategy. The first step was site screening and debris forecasting. Using ArcGIS, the city evaluated dozens of potential debris management sites, analyzing factors like accessibility, environmental constraints, and distance to critical infrastructure. Spatial models helped estimate how much debris different disaster scenarios might generate, whether flooding, windstorms, or severe winter events. This allowed the city to plan capacity in advance rather than react in chaos. The second component was field assessment. Teams used GIS-enabled tools to document conditions directly from the field, from road blockages to fallen trees and damaged structures. Real-time reporting meant that decision-makers could immediately see which areas were most affected and where cleanup crews were needed first. Finally, the city focused on categorizing debris types. This step is essential because different materials, construction rubble, vegetation, hazardous waste, household debris, must be handled, transported, and processed in different ways. GIS helped classify debris across neighborhoods, ensuring that the right equipment and contractors were assigned to each category. This reduced delays, optimized workflows, and ensured compliance with environmental and safety standards. Together, these steps turned debris management from a reactive task into a well-organized, spatially informed operation that accelerated Philadelphia's recovery. This map shows how Philadelphia used ArcGIS Online to manage debris site planning. Staff could review potential sites from the desktop, assess suitability, and compare options without visiting each location. Meanwhile, field teams reported progress directly into the system, allowing managers to see which sites were inspected, which were ready, and where delays were forming. This integrated view kept planning and field operations aligned and helped accelerate the recovery process. Information sharing is one of the most fundamental elements of effective emergency management. GIS plays a unique role here. It acts as a spatial bridge that brings together people, data, and systems that normally operate in separate silos. When information flows seamlessly across agencies and disciplines, the entire response becomes more coordinated and more powerful. Sharing information is not just a technical task, it is a foundation for inclusive and equitable resilience. When all stakeholders, from local authorities to community organizations, have access to the same situational picture, decisions become fairer, clearer, and more effective. As Carrie Speranza from Esri emphasizes, location is at the root of all risk. If we understand where the risk is, who is exposed, and what assets are vulnerable, we can manage emergencies with far greater precision. For this reason, collaboration cannot be limited to one moment in time. Successful emergency management requires continuous cooperation, before, during, and after a disaster. GIS provides the common platform that makes this possible. After the Izmir earthquake, one of the most powerful examples of community-driven response came from NeedsMap, a platform developed through a partnership between Esri Turkey and IDEMA. This collaboration created a digital social marketplace where people in need could be directly matched with volunteers, donors, and support providers. With GIS at the core of the system, every request for assistance, available supply, volunteer location, shelter, and ongoing aid activity was mapped in real time. This visual clarity allowed responders to immediately understand where urgent needs were concentrated and how resources should be mobilized. Rather than navigating scattered messages or unstructured information, decision-makers could see the response spatially, where help was needed, where support was coming from, and how aid was flowing across the affected neighborhoods. This community-driven, map-based approach made resource delivery faster, more accurate, and far more coordinated during one of the most critical moments of the response. This map shows one of the most powerful components of the NeedsMap system, the Bir Kira Bir Yuva initiative. After the Izmir earthquake, families who lost their homes could submit their housing needs directly on the map, while donors offered available flats or rental support. GIS helped visualize these needs in real time, making it clear where the most urgent shelter demands were emerging and enabling a much faster and fairer matching process. This map illustrates how NeedsMap organized volunteer support after the Izmir earthquake. Every volunteer could register their location, skills, and available time directly on the map. GIS brought this information together, allowing coordinators to see where volunteer capacity was strongest and where additional support was needed. This visual approach ensured that tasks were matched with the right people and that help reached affected neighborhoods quickly and efficiently. We have now covered the full spectrum of disaster management, from proactive preparation to the long-term journey of recovery. When we look at the roles of GIS in response and recovery, three key principles emerge. Clarity is the foundation of action. GIS turns chaotic, siloed data into a single, reliable common operating picture. Whether it is a fast-moving tornado or a complex nuclear simulation, situational awareness allows teams to see what is happening, where resources are needed, and how conditions are changing, enabling instant, confident decisions. Location-based workflows drive efficiency and accountability. Processes like damage assessment and debris management are transformed by GIS. By collecting data instantly via mobile apps, we eliminate paperwork, ensure that every action is geographically documented, and comply with federal guidelines. This efficiency ensures recovery funds are spent responsibly and delays in reimbursement are minimized. Transparency builds trust and resilience. GIS is the most effective tool for information sharing. By providing interactive maps and dashboards to the public and partner agencies, like the Needs Map example, we ensure equitable resource distribution, strengthen interagency coordination, and demonstrate to the affected community that the recovery journey is being managed openly and fairly. GIS is the strategic intelligence layer that accelerates every stage of the disaster lifecycle. It helps us plan better, respond faster, and ultimately, rebuild stronger.